All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, going on the Balkan journey with our beloved, esteemed Dr. Yasir Qadhi, inshallah. I'm sure you are all excited to be going on this journey, inshallah. Um, there's going to be ups and downs on this trip. There's fun, education, history, a little emotional times. We're going to go through some of these things and expectations, bi'idhnillah, so you are prepared when you are going, inshallah. So I'm going to share a quick slide, a few slides. But again, this is not the final slide. I'm sure you're all going to be asking if we're going to get this recording. And yes, you will get this recording, inshallah. And you will get a copy of the detailed itinerary, inshallah, 3 days prior to your departure. But this is a general idea just to give you a heads up of what to expect with Idnillah. There's going to be plenty of more to show you and go over. But here is pretty much an essential travel guide, just to give you some preparation and idea of what to expect on your journey with Idnillah. So with that being said, again, remember, you're going to three countries, right? Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Montenegro. Okay. And the first area where you're arriving, we'll talk about the itinerary after. But what I wanted you to prepare you with is a few tips. And pretty much the first tip that we always prepare everyone with in any of these trips, inshallah. And of course, as you know, mashallah, many of you have probably gone to one of these trips with Fadilat Sheikh Yasir Qadi or with the Dar es Salaam trip. And if this is your first time, most likely it is not your last. And you're pretty much going to get addicted to these trips with Nillah. They're educational, they're fun, they're engaging, and of course, spiritually educational and historically educational, academically educational with Sheikh Yasir with Nillah. So, with that being said, these are just a quick tips of what you should be expecting or what you should be preparing for bi'idhnillah. Now, what I wanted to touch up on is a few things. Packing a luggage. Again, you're welcome to write these notes, but you will get this recording. Weather and walking and the expectations of that. Border crossings, because you're going through three countries. Buses and schedules, prayers and spirituality, restroom reminders. This is something important. And then we'll discuss about other prep tips and, of course, group etiquette. So the first thing, of course, is packing and luggage essentials. And of course, many of you are saying, well, I'm traveling to three countries. I'm going to be checking in, checking out, and what am I supposed to do, and how many bags I should go. Think light, pack light, right? Remember, it's really essentially at the end of the day, um, give or take about 9 days, right? So whatever you're going to need for those 9 days. So pack light, all right, because you're going to need to manage your own luggage during some of the transitions, right? So basically when you're checking in and checking out and getting on the bus and getting off the bus. And of course, we travel with luggage in the bus. So this is, if you've been to Umrah with Dar es Salaam or Hajj, of course, there's a different expectation that you have porters and they're going to take it and you're going to take a truck in advance the night before. No, these tour trips, usually you're traveling together. There's two buses, you're traveling with your bags on the bus. So size and weight matter significantly, considering the space restrictions that we'll have on the bus. So our luggage limitations, and consider this a limitation, consider this a requirement. And I know you might say, well, the airline allows me for two suitcases, but essentially this is a 9 day trip. Remember that. So we definitely highly, highly recommend and encourage one carry-on and one medium-sized suitcase per person. Remember, if you're a family and you can fit one large suitcase for two people, that's perfectly fine. Personally, I travel, but of course, everyone is different. I travel with a carry-on. Most of the sisters probably will travel with a medium size and a carry-on. So remember, we definitely encourage this. We want to enforce this, and I don't believe anyone should be traveling with more than one carry-on and medium size. So please, what we're saying here is really no exceptions as space is limited on our buses. So remember that, inshallah. Um, you know, unless obviously you're going to another country after another country, then you can always leave it at the hotel and then come back and pick it up. So that's for luggage and weather and walking preparation. So walking conditions, you need comfortable shoes. You need broken in walking shoes, comfortable shoes, It's extremely important. Remember, if you're elderly or you're physically, I guess, requiring a lot of assistance or requiring this may not be this may be a very difficult trip for you, or it might be some times where you're going to be able to sit on the bus and not be able to attend some tours. You should be expecting a lot of walking, specifically on cobblestone and uneven roads through the journey. uh, Majority of the time, you should be considering that. Weather conditions, it's hot in the daytime, so temperatures vary, the 80s and 90s, and nothing significant. Remember, this is mountains, so at night it gets really chilly. So we always recommend to layer your clothing, bring a light jacket or a sweater, and then layer throughout the day. You'll be able to, by night, just put on a sweater, but you'll be able to when you get to the hotel, you can always wear a sweater or have that on you. Another essential thing that's important on this trip, because you're going to three countries, there's broad border crossings. So it's very important that you have your passports handy, and remember that it may be collected and submitted by the guide. So the guide will collect all the passports and then take them to the counter. But sometimes they'll say, well, we need you all to step off the bus to go through immigration and then get back on the bus. So remember to expect that, and remember that there are wait times. Remember that you're going through immigration. So border crossings can involve significant wait times. So you remember through these trips and through these bus trips, and you'll see the detailed itinerary. It'll tell you how long these bus trips will be. But typically, you should plan for bringing snacks, water, and of course, as always, patience for these necessary transitions. Bus arrangements and schedules. So we have a two bus system. We'll be split into two buses. Bus numbers will be shared next week on the group. So you're sticking to your assigned bus throughout the journey. Of course, if you're a family together, you're going to be in the same bus, inshallah. Now, it's extremely important. I cannot stress this enough. We're always having, one or two of those families that are latecomers, right? So please be on time for all departures. Just because maybe the bus is late one time doesn't necessarily make it an exception or excuse for us to be late. But I can assure you that most of these tourist buses are on time and they're early. So please be on time for all departures, at least about 10 minutes early. Uh, Latecomers do affect everyone's experience and our ability to complete the day's itinerary sometimes. Um, Again, as I mentioned before, the detailed schedule, a comprehensive daily schedule, will be shared 3 days before departure. The Sheikh will rotate between buses throughout the trip. So remember, inshallah, Fadilat Sheikh Yasir Qadhi will be rotating, just in case you're probably thinking right now, well, how am I going to have access to Sheikh? Of course, there's other things that we're going to discuss here, like spiritual programming. So again, prayer essentials, bring a prayer mat and maybe a travel wudu bottle if you have one, as we may pray in open areas or during stops. Sometimes they're in masajids, sometimes they're in open areas, sometimes there are in beautiful nature areas that you will probably need your prayer mat, inshallah. The spiritual programs are there will always be halaqas, spiritual reflections, and reminders with Sheikh. So please participate actively and reflect on these experiences. Typically, they're usually in the mornings and throughout the journey. And mindful waiting. So use time for dhikr, dua, journaling, or connection with others in the group, bi'idhnillah. Practical travel tips, restroom preparedness. Remember, in these areas, some public restrooms require coins, so keep small change handy. We'll definitely inform you. MashaAllah, we have the honor of having Sheikh with us, and of course, MashaAllah, sisters Ibtisam and sister Sarah, who are going to be with you as well, inshallah. As you all know, I'm sure you've heard of Sister Ibtisam. She's the operations manager of Dar es Salaam, and she's fully experience in all of these trips, mashallah. So he'll be guiding you thoroughly with that, with the guidance of Sheikh Yasir Qadhi, and of course the guides on the ground. Electronics, this is the EU plug adapters, the round one. So make sure that you have a plug adapter for your charging devices. Download Google Translate with Bosnian, Serbian, and Croatian language packs. Those will come in very handy. Hydration is important, so stay hydrated with a refillable water bottle. Have some cash on hand, euros or local currency. So when you're there, we'll guide you, of course, on when to change the currency or exchange it. But do not exchange it here. Do not exchange 2 euros here. Do not exchange at the airport. We'll guide you on when to exchange it. But almost every location is going to take cards, with the exception of local markets. But typically, everyone usually will take cards. So just have some coins and change, like we've mentioned, for the restrooms and other things. Group etiquette, patience and flexibility. Be patient, flexible, and kind, as things may not always go as planned. So the journey requires adaptability, mutual respect, of course, respect each other's space and privacy throughout our shared journeys. Always be mindful of each other's positions and opinions on certain things. I mean, this is not a journey for you to have that debate, but to learn and absorb and understand. And of course, remember, you're not just on a vacation. This is a journey of reflection and connection, and specifically at a very difficult time with, of course, the atrocities that are happening in the world, specifically in Gaza. You get to see something else that has happened that is almost similar or not. If I don't know, Sheikh, you'll probably touch up on this, and Sheikh, of course, will touch up on all of this. But in Srebrenica, you'll see all of that. Um, but that's pretty much in general what you should expect. This is an overview of the program. Of course, 1 and 2, day 1 and 2 is in Dubrovnik. There's movements around there. Bashatolik, Blagaya, and Mostar is day 3, Sarajevo on the day trips, and then Montenegro, 7 to 9, with other cities in there. And of course, inshallah, Sheikh and the team will be providing you the detailed itinerary, bi'idhnillah, with all of that. One thing I do want to mention, I know we were speaking about this, Sheikh, if you're there. Um, Yesterday we were having a conversation with about, of course, our dear brothers and sisters and our I guess cuisine interests or cuisine requirements,
Yes.
and we find this very interesting. This is actually a serious matter, Sheikh, right? You don't mess with an Arab's kebab, or our brothers and sisters, the Desi brothers and sisters, with their biryani or their chai, right? So, but I just do want to mention, because this happens so many times on many other trips, that you're going to China, right? If you're going to China, I know you're going to get fed up with the taste there, because it's not the same Chinese food, right? That we eat here. And if you're going to Uzbekistan and so on and so forth, but remember, you're going to those countries to experience those countries. You're not going there to enforce uh,
Mhm.
um, your taste on others, right? Yes, chivapis are the best kebab, but it's debatable. But what we're gonna find, some individuals, I mean, sometimes I gravitate to kebab anywhere I go, right? I go to UK, I go to France, I go to anywhere I go, I decide to go to ask for kebab. And then we've had many brothers and sisters that mention, we're sick and tired of Chinese food, or we're sick and tired of, Uzbek food, or so and so. But remember that this is where you're going. So this is the meals you're gonna have. You're not gonna always find biryani somewhere. You're not gonna always find sushi somewhere. But one thing that I do want to caution everyone, and I think Sheikh, we mentioned this, is that the food there is going to be generally bland, right? So if you are looking for some spicy food, make sure that you take some spices with you. I mean, yes, we are saying this in the session, but this is what it is. But with that being said, my apologies for taking a long time, Sheikh. I
No
know there's
worries.
a lot of information that you want to provide. There is going to be detailed information for everyone. There, just to give you an idea, consider that every day, some days are going to be easy on the legs, it's easy on the physical, but the Dubrovnik day is going to be very difficult. There's a lot of steps, but Srebrenica is going to be the toughest on you. All right.
Mhm.
And it's not going to be the toughest on you physically. It's going to be the toughest on you emotionally. It's going to be a lot of sadness, a lot of anger. And I don't envy Sheikh being with you on this day, especially with what's happening in the world, specifically in Gaza, is going to be a very difficult day. So please be prepared for it. It's something important that you need to experience, of course. And looking forward to, of course, your feedback. Typically, there's always a last farewell dinner that Sheikh and the team hold to get your, I guess, feedback and input, right? And your reflections of the trip in Nila. So, with that being said, Sheikh, did I leave anything out?
No, excellent summary, alhamdulillah.
Very good. So, the floor is all yours. Allah bless you. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, Ahmed. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala amma ba'd. I am super excited to be going to the Balkans with all of you. This is my first trip to the Balkans, and every time it's my first trip, obviously it's a steep learning curve for all of us. This trip has been delayed so many times. We actually had this trip completely booked and locked in and scheduled the year that COVID hit. And so we had everything, we was just going to announce it, but then COVID hit. And then one thing led to another. We had to do other trips. So this is a trip that is long overdue. I have never, can you believe, visited Bosnia or Kosovo or Croatia or any of those countries. So this is going to be my first trip as well. So I'm reading up as usual. And I'm pretty sure almost all of you are repeat, alhamdulillah, people that have come in our tours, and that's the way we like to do things, but we welcome the newcomers as well. But as you're all aware, those that are new, you will understand why we have a high turnover rate, because alhamdulillah, it's a very unique blend of sightseeing along with the Islamic ambience, along with communal prayers, along with, of course, the highlight for me, and that is learning and studying the history of Islam and lessons to learn from that region. And how many lessons are there? Subhanallah. I'm just going to give you a quick, super, short crash course. The Balkans is home to Europe's oldest and only native Muslim community of our times. Of course, Andalusia is no longer native, and so that is gone. But Islam has been present in this region for 600 years, as we're going to study, 600 years, making this region the oldest indigenous Muslim population in the whole world in Europe. Of course, outside of Andalus, because Andalus, it rose, it fell, and then there is no indigenous, population, as you're aware. And unlike most of Western Europe, Islam here wasn't introduced through migration, but rather through the Ottoman expansion, and then the local people, the Slavic communities and the communities of that region actually embraced Islam. And so you have an ethnically original, if you like, indigenous population that is fully through and through European, and it has its own Islamic heritage. And therefore, to this day, the only European countries in the EU that have a Muslim majority country are the ones that we are visiting. For example, Albania is, constitutionally is secular, but it is demographically a Muslim majority country right around there. Kosovo, Bosnia, Herzegovina, all of these regions. And of course, we're going to Croatia, which is not majority Muslim, but it does have, Muslims living there. And these are not, of course, there are some immigrants, but these aren't immigrants by and large. These are indigenous people that have converted to Islam 400, 500 years ago, some of them 600 years ago, and now they're thriving in these regions. Now, another interesting thing we're going to see as we're touring these lands is, of course, the Ottoman influence on this region, because the Ottoman Empire expanded into Europe as well. And this is where it expanded. And this is why there are, of course, so many Muslims over here. So cities like, Sarajevo, cities like Skopje, we're going to actually be, seeing the Ottoman architecture, the Ottoman mosques that have been built there. And inshallah, when we go to the masjid in Sarajevo, there's a masjid that is just iconic. It is the Ghazi Husrev Beg Masjid. It was built 570 years ago, and it is one of the finest examples of Ottoman masjids in Europe. Of course, it's Europe now, and it is an Ottoman constructed masjid, and it is still standing strong as it was built over almost 600 years ago. Another reality about Islam in the Balkan regions is that because the Balkans embraced Islam, because they're indigenous Muslim, so obviously their Islamic identity blends their culture, it blends their understanding of Islam. They have a type of Sufi background as well. They have their local folklore, they have their European cultural norms, they have their cuisine. I understand for some of us that cuisine might be unique. Some people love it, some people are so about it. It is what it is, but it is definitely authentic, European for its, people, and it is Islamic as well. And so obviously in Bosnia and Sarajevo, in some places, the default will be halal. In Croatia, the default will not be halal. So we're going to get into that in more detail later on. So inshallah, we'll be doing that as we go throughout the tour. Also, one of the unique things in the region, I'll talk about this as well when we get there. There is a sect of Islam that is almost indigenous to that region. I don't know if we're going to meet any of them. We'll see. The default, of course, is Sunnism, but there is something called the Bektashi order. And the Bektashi order, they have around 1 million or so people, and they are predominantly in that region. And we'll talk a little bit about their beliefs. They are a syncretic blend, because that's what happens when Islam goes to the nether, these pockets. You have these synergies, that you have these exotic blends of Islam. So I know it's exotic right now, but trust me, when I describe it to you, your mind will be blown away that there are people like this. And of course, they identify as Muslim, but their beliefs are like a mix of so many different strands, and whether they're technically Muslim or not, we can talk about that as well. But again, it's interesting because this is something that European Islam produced. And of course, we're going to be going over this briefly in our tour, but obviously the most significant aspect for us, and frankly the most painful, and one of the main reasons why we are going to this region, because this region has so much history for us to learn from, painful as well. And in 1995, 1996, the largest massacre in Europe since World War II took place in Srebrenica. It is a very, very painful reality. This will be my first time going as well. And every single friend and mentor of mine that has gone, they've told me how spiritually overpowering that visit was, especially because we have planned to, and we reached out to, inshallah, we will be meeting, and this is going to be very emotional, I'm warning you from now, we're going to be meeting some of the survivors as well. If everything goes according to plan, we do have made the necessary arrangements. We will be meeting some of the actual eyewitnesses. And it's very important that that history is not lost on us. And I know it's painful. Obviously, if you have young children, it's up to you if you want to, take them to listen to this. But if you are above the age of 15, I strongly encourage you, no matter how painful it is, listen, this is reality. And what is happening in Gaza is a reality. And we need to know this reality. We can't just shove our heads in the sand like ostriches, pretend nothing is happening. No, these people lived in these regions for 600 years. And their friends and neighbors, they thought there is nothing different between them. And yet when push came to shove, and when the civil war broke out, instantaneously, and we're going to hear this, we're going to learn that history. That's one of the main reasons we're going. I want to be clear here. We are not going just for fun and games. Yes, there will be some entertainment, there will be some fun and sightseeing, but there's a massacre going on in Gaza. So when we're going to these lands, we're going for spiritual fortification. We're going to learn history. We're going so that we don't repeat these mistakes. We're going to boost our iman and to be better Muslims. This is a part of why we are going, and that's why we're going in this package. We're not just going to sightsee. Yes, there's sightseeing. Yes, there's shopping. Yes, you have some, go and explore the city. That's all fine. But our primary purpose of going here really is to solidify our iman, to learn from the realities of what happened in that region, and to then gain lessons from history so that inshallah ta'ala we'll be better prepared for the future. And therefore, final points from me. While this is not an intensive seminar, I know the 5-10 amongst you, you really want 3 hours of lectures a day, but experience has taught us that that is not how these things work. We're going to try to give small lectures every single day, half an hour, 45 minutes, before our tour. In some cities, we will not be able to do that simply because of the logistics of getting on the bus and going places. So where that's going to happen, don't worry, we're going to supplement with guides when we actually visit the sites. Obviously, as usual, for those of you that haven't been on my tours, you know this, right after breakfast, inshallah ta'ala, there will, as usual, the norm will be, there'll be a lecture. Of course, I say mandatory attendance, but again, it's up to you. Whoever comes. But I mean, no points lost if you don't. It's up to you. But I mean, for me, that's the whole purpose of coming. That why would you come with an Islamic package, especially with someone like me who's interested in history, except to go over that history? So we're gonna, in a nutshell, bird's eye view. It's not a detailed lecture. It's very light. College students, high school students will benefit, and elderly people who have never had an interest in the Balkans and Islam, still they'll benefit. And for further reading, I can give you other lists as well once we're done with the tour. But the point is that you are intellectually and mentally prepared, and you understand why we're going to these places and what can we benefit from the places that we're going to, and the lessons that we can extract, especially from the civil war and then the horrifying massacre. And subhanallah, most of us lived through that time frame. Those of you that are above the age of 35, I remember as a teenager what happened in Bosnia in the late 90s. And subhanallah, we will be meeting people who were there when that happened. It's going to be painful. Honestly, I'm also dreading to listen to it, but I still need to. I need to, because this is a part of our ummah's history and legacy, a part of what happened, and we need to learn from this so that inshallah ta'ala, in the very least, the memory, 8,500 people were literally rounded up and massacred in one day. It's just unbelievable, surreal to think about. And there's video footage, and we're going to see some of that. And we're going to meet some of the people on that video footage. We're going to meet them, some of them that maybe were under the bodies or whatever, and they survived that. It's going to be painful, brothers and sisters. But again, this is why we are going. The least we can do, remember the legacy, the memory of those that fell and those that are alive amongst them. And we're going to meet so many, elderly mothers who lost their children, widows who lost their husbands. We're going to be meeting them just in the cities around us. They're going to be there. You're going to be interacting with them. You're going to come back with stories in your hotel. Oh my God, I went to the coffee shop and the person there told me about this and that. That's a part of the experience, subhanAllah, because decades from now, you're going to tell your children, this is what you saw, this is what you learned. And the main point we're going to see here, subhanAllah, from darkness comes light. After that tragedy impacted Bosnia. Of course, nothing justifies it, but from darkness, light comes. Bosnia, pre-tragedy, was it was far from the deen, let's put it that way. The deen was not that strong. Now you will see mosques and the adhan everywhere. You will see our brothers and sisters, their iman is strong and alive. You will see iman thriving, scholarship thriving. You will see madrasas and masajid full. You will see women in hijab, whereas in the 60s, 70s, 80s, hardly anybody wore the hijab over there. In reality, because of that setback, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought about a full revolution of the faith. And we're going to see from that darkness, the lightness that comes. And you will witness this yourselves, inshallah ta'ala. So the bottom line, brothers and sisters, is that some of you might be a little bit concerned or worried that how come we're going, on a tour when what is happening. And I flip the script and I say, in light of what is happening, this is one of the things we need to do, is to study our history and to be connected to our past and to learn from the ups and downs, because there are ups and downs that have happened, and we are eyewitnesses, meaning we have lived through that era, and we're going to interact with people that have experienced it firsthand. So we are going there. Yes, there will be fun times, no problem, and that's all halal. But the primary purpose we are going there is to motivate ourselves to come back, to be bigger, better, and stronger, and to be more equipped to teach to our communities and to say firsthand, guys, I interviewed, I witnessed, I interacted with people who saw this massacre. We cannot allow this to happen again. Those types of anecdotes will shape you. Those types of experiences will motivate you. And so what I hope and inshallah ta'ala aspire for is that this trip isn't just a fun 9, 8, 10 days. It is actually something that will cause you to come back better equipped and armed intellectually, motivationally, spiritually, and with anecdotes, with snippets, with bits of information that will inshallah ta'ala impact you for the rest of your lives as you're active in the Muslim community. And with that, inshallah ta'ala, hand it back to Ahmed. I'll be with you obviously, inshallah. The good thing is, no time for Q&A, because I'm there with you all time Q&A. So whenever you need me, you just come up to me, inshallah, and I'll be alternating between the buses, and as a part of course, my being there, socializing, interacting, that's a part of the fun. One aspect, by the way, some people might be asking about this, is that typically we do have salah in the hotels, but this time around, because we're in Bosnia, I've been told that the masjids are really close by and everything, so we will most likely not be having our own salawat because there's masjids close by. But don't worry, inshallah, as we said, almost daily, not every day, because sometimes we're not able to, but almost daily, right after breakfast, we will be coming and having the lecture, and then going out to the tours. And inshallah, with that, I'll hand it back to Ahmed, and looking forward to seeing all of you, inshallah ta'ala, in literally just a week, inshallah. So bismillah, Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Jazakallah khair, Fadil Shaykh. So again, a reminder, bi'idhnillah, as you all know, of course, Sister Sahar, the face of the trip, inshallah, and preparations with you all. May Allah bless her, and Jazakallah khair for her preparations for you. We'll be sending you that detailed itinerary that Sheikh Yasir had mentioned, and I has mentioned as well. But also just a reminder for the Sheikh, remember we were talking about this, but this is another reminder again, subhanAllah, Sheikh touched up on it. Remember, brothers and sisters, the trips are always created in moderation. Like Sheikh mentioned, some might be looking for extensive information and knowledge. Some others might think that what we have is too much already, right? Some people will think that the travel times, we should have prepped more for you and prepared you mentally for it. We're telling you right now that you're going to be on a bus for at least 3 to 4 hours a day. This is that kind of trip. You'll be walking on cobblestone streets, and these are the trips that you're going for. These are the adventures you're going for. You're not going to a beach vacation, so it's important that you know this. It's important to know that there is going to be a variety of halal seafood and so on and so forth, and the cultural foods. So you're going to see cultural people, individuals, cultural foods, history, and of course, there's going to be a mixture of spiritual, educational. It's not going to be as extensive as some may want it to be, and it might be too extensive for others, right, Sheikh? Remember, it's a little over 100 people, so you're not going to satisfy everyone on a specific thing. But so keep that in mind. Remember, we've mentioned the grouping and the respect of others. But of course, you'll all enjoy it. You've all been here before. You've been in many other trips, so you know what to expect, inshallah, with Sheikh Yasir with Nillah. Sister Sahar, do you have any? I think she's on. Do you have anything that we've missed? Or Sister Ibtisam, before we go? Sheikh, there's a question about reading materials. Any recommendations on reading materials?
So I'll be honest with you, I do have some books, but these are quite dense reading. I haven't found anything light per se, and I know all, if there's any professors in the online, they're going to literally want to scream. But frankly, the Wikipedia entry Islam in the Balkans does a fairly decent job of just an overview. Other than that, honestly, the 3 4 books that I have are just the standard dense history books, and that's my job, is to read that stuff and make it easier for you. Whoever wants to, I can send that list out. But honestly, no exaggeration, the Wikipedia entry on this is fairly good. And there's also a online documentary called "How Did Bosnia Become Muslim?" It's like maybe 20 minutes, and so I can just find that to you and send it to you. But yeah, you can find that as well, inshallah. How did Bosnia become Muslim? There'll be a nice video that you can find and look at. But the rest, inshallah, like I said, this is casual. There's no exam at the end. You don't have to read lots of books. It's really just experiencing the city, seeing them, and just a quick overview of the history of Bosnia, and not just the Bosnia but the Balkans. But I will send a more lengthy reading list, inshallah, by the time the trip is done.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikhna. Yeah, I mean, and touching up on that day of Srebrenica, Sheikh, and it's interesting because I think last time I was there was one of the lecturers mentioning to us um, that our Bosnian brothers and sisters at one point felt like they were abandoned, right?
Yeah.
And they felt like they were saying, "Well, we are the front line of Islam." Right, and we're forgotten by our brothers and sisters, right, because we're European, and there was the whole situation of their identity, so they struggle a lot with their identity, and you'll get to see that there. But that day, subhanallah, it's tough. So just I
Yeah.
think Sheikh has prepared you. I mean, I don't think anyone can prepare you for that day, but even combining it and thinking of Gaza and our brothers and sisters there, just be prepared for that. Just remember everyone in your dua bidnillah. Tipping culture will provide you the guidelines on tipping. Typically, the tipping would be specific amount of money per day, and we will provide you the guidance for that, inshallah. And that's something that's going to be somewhat required by everyone, and the team is going to inform you of that, inshallah. Credit card, okay, yes, credit card. I would say 90 or 95% of the time is okay. Just cash, like I said, coins for restrooms and maybe for some of these safe straight street foods or areas, inshallah. Currency, it's usually going to be in euros, and we will provide you guidance on exchange when you get to Dubrovnik, bidnillah. All right, Sheikhna. I think this is it. If you would like to wrap it up, bidnillah.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, guys. And again, remember, I know most of you have been with us before, but just remember, you're traveling with 100 people, 2 buses, and every single time that one person is late, you're going to be frustrated. But guess what? Guaranteed, almost one of the days it'll be you that's late, and we're all waiting for you. And the day that you're late, you're gonna be like, "Oh, please forgive me. Oh, please, this happened." So this is a part of the fun and the ups and downs, and that's the whole purpose of coming together: the ukhuwah, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the fun, the games, the salah, the dhikr, the lectures, all of that. It comes together. And yes, there's some minor costs that you have to give, and of them is the patience for the child that's crying, for the elderly, helping them. That's a part of coming together for the ummah. And bismillah, inshallah, that's a part of coming together. But please try your best to be on time. When we say 9 o'clock, we don't mean 9, we mean 8:55. Be on the bus, inshallah ta'ala. And once or twice, I'm telling you from now, we've had to make executive decisions where somebody didn't come and we just have to send a message, hey, get a taxi and meet us in the next place. And please don't get angry at me or, Sister Ibtisam or anybody. It's like you have to be realistic. There's got to be a cutoff point. So I'm telling you from now, I'm going to put Sister Ibtisam on the spot and put her in charge of that executive decision so that I'm off the hook. Inshallah, Sister Ibtisam, that's on you, inshallah. But I will back her up in the sense it is what it is. We all have to, make a decision for this. So try your best to be on time and just bismillah, be good spirited and cheerful and come together for the sake of the ummah and realize in light of what is happening, wallahi, who cares if we're a few minutes late? In light of what is happening, who cares if, a child is crying? Or it is what it is. This is all first world problems, and we are studying one of the most fascinating atypical histories of Islam in the whole world. The only place where indigenous Europeans are Muslim for 600 years. Surely there's so much benefit for us as Americans and Westerners to come and benefit from that. That's where we're going. So I hope inshallah ta'ala Allah makes this trip a resounding success. I hope that Allah protects all of us and our brothers and sisters in Gaza. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to come back safely, having increased our iman and knowledge, and to be even more motivated to benefit our ummah. And with that, jazakumullah khair, subhanakallah اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان في خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. I hope to see all of you inshallah ta'ala in Croatia on Saturday, on my side, arriving Saturday. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.